This day in sports history. And welcome back to This Dish, a member of the Sports History Network. Learn more and find additional podcasts at sportshistorynetwork.com. It's July 14th, and on this day in 1970, it was a collision that's been talked about for more than 50 years, and probably will be for another 50. Pete Rose and Ray Fosse met for the first time the night before. They were introduced by Sam McDowell, who was pitching for Cleveland. Sudden Sam was a good friend of Rose and a teammate to Fosse. It was a cordial meeting. They ended up having dinner together with their wives. Later, Fosse and his newlywed bride Carol went back to Pete and Carolyn Rose's house to talk baseball and have a few drinks. It was All-Star Weekend, so they could release a little pressure and enjoy the moment. Riverfront Stadium had opened just a few weeks prior and was set to host the 1970 All-Star Game. Fosse, a 23-year-old first-time All-Star, was awestruck. He said it was like his baseball card collection had come to life, and he tried to soak in as much as he could, walking around with future Hall of Famers. He peppered Rose with questions about his teammate, Johnny Bench. Since Fosse was a catcher with the Cleveland Indians, he didn't get a chance to see Bench play much, and he had a lot of questions. The night ended around 1 a.m., and the Fosses went back to their hotel in preparation for the All-Star Game the next day. The night was fun. Maybe they could get together with the Roses again sometime. But Ray Fosse's second meeting with Pete Rose would be anything but cordial. The American Leaguers were looking pretty good on this night. It looked like they would break a 7-game losing streak to the National League, holding a 4-1 lead in the bottom of the ninth. With Oakland's Catfish Hunter on the mound, surely it was a done deal. If only Catfish had closed out the game in the ninth, how different Ray Fosse's career might have been. But Dick Dietz hit a solo shot, Willie McCovey singled home another, and then when Roberto Clemente lifted a sac fly to the outfield to score another one, it was tied at 4 and heading to extra innings. It stayed that way into the bottom of the 12th, and with 2 outs, Rose was on second, representing the winning run. Jim Hickman was at the plate, and he lined one into center field. Third base coach Leo DeRocher waved Rose around. The Royals' Amos Otis scooped the ball off the turf, and he threw home. It was a perfect one-hopper to the plate. As Fosse stepped to catch the ball and tag Pete, Rose barreled into him full speed, shoulder to shoulder. He tagged the plate, and the ball game was over. The National League had won 5-4 for their 8th straight All-Star Game victory. Rose was unapologetic after the game and is still unapologetic 54 years later. His quote after the game was, "Nobody told me they changed it to girls softball between third and home." After the play, Fosse was holding his left arm. He was taken to the hospital, but according to an article he wrote, there was no indication of a break or separation on the x-ray that night. Years later, Fosse believed Rose was intentionally trying to hurt him on the play. Rose just said he was trying to score the winning run. The All-Star Game was important to them, and Rose was as competitive a guy as there was. Fosse actually did not miss a game because of injury. He was in a ton of pain, and he couldn't really swing the bat very well in the days that followed, but he caught the very next game after the All-Star break. Rose said he actually missed 3 games because of the collision. Fosse went on to play another 7 years in the league and was an All-Star in '71 when the American League finally broke the National League stranglehold on the game. Rose played in 17 All-Star games and was on the winning end of 16 of them. But no matter how many he won, people will always remember his collision with Ray Fosse that happened on this day in 1970. On this day in 1972, it was a family affair at the ballpark. You know, it's great to go to a baseball game with your dad and your brother. You get box seats if it's a special occasion. But really, even outfield bleacher seats are just fine. Well, on this day, a pair of brothers had about as good a view of the ball game as you could get. The Detroit Tigers were playing at home against Kansas City. Tom Holler was behind the plate for the Tigers on this night. His brother Bill was the home plate umpire. It was the first time brothers had actually been paired up as umpire and catcher in a major league game. It's hard to say if Tom got any favorable calls that night, though. The Royals struck out 10 times to Detroit's 5, but that doesn't say much. Kansas City won the game 1-0, so nepotism didn't extend to a win for the little brother. On this day in back-to-back years, a pair of home run hitters hit career homer number 500. In 1967, it was Houston's Eddie Matthews belting his 500th off San Francisco's Juan Marichal. Matthews was on the tail end of his career, and he ended up with 512 career home runs. A year later, in 1968, Matthews' former teammate Hank Aaron hit his 500th on this day. Aaron hit his 500th bomb off San Francisco's Mike McCormick at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. Of course, Hammer and Hank had another 8.5 years left in his career and would finish with 755. In 2019, Novak Djokovic outlasted Roger Federer in the longest men's singles final in Wimbledon history. This was the first year a final set tiebreak was actually used in the men's singles finals. But it wasn't the typical tiebreak that is initiated at 6-6 in a set. In the final set, the tiebreak would be implemented if it got to 12-12, which this match did. And if there had not been a tiebreak in place to decide it, who knows how long this one would have lasted. Djokovic's 3-set wins all came on tiebreaks. Djokovic actually stared down 2 championship points in this match, only to fight back to win the game and stave off defeat, and then ultimately win the championship. When Federer hit one off the frame at 6-3 in the tiebreak of the 5th set, Djokovic had successfully defended his Wimbledon title in 4 hours, 57 minutes. It was the last major final appearance for Federer, who won Wimbledon 8 times. On this day in 2013, Jordan Spieth became the youngest player to win a PGA Tour event in 82 years. It was the John Deere Classic in Illinois, and after Spieth holed out from the bunker on 18 to close out his final round with a 65, he found himself in a 3-way tie for first and in a sudden death playoff. Spieth said later his bunker shot was the luckiest shot he ever hit in his life, but at least his luck did not run out. The sudden death playoff went 5 extra holes before Spieth could best defending champion Zach Johnson and David Hearn. At age 19, Spieth became the youngest player to win on tour since Ralph Goodall won the Santa Monica Open in 1931. And it was on this day in 1966 when Cleveland Browns running back Jim Brown told Browns owner Art Modell to take this job and shove it. I talked about this a few weeks back when I mentioned the release date of The Dirty Dozen. Brown had been in England in the summer of '66 filming the movie The Dirty Dozen, and filming was running a little bit long. Modell wanted Brown back in Cleveland for the start of training camp and said that if he was not back by July 17th, he would fine Jim for each day he missed and possibly suspend him. So after playing 9 stellar years in the NFL, Brown decided to retire instead, giving up his $80,000 salary for the season, and he concentrated on being an actor and his social justice work. Time now for today's non-sports Did You Know? Have you ever heard of the Vienna Vegetable Orchestra? They are, let's just say, experimental musicians who make instruments out of fresh fruits and vegetables. That's all for now. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow on This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.